everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing another sketchbook video. Here is my Daisy sketchbook, which I got from Baylee J. If you're wondering where to get it, it's from Baylee J. I'll leave a link in the description. And anyways, I really felt like doing another sketchbook spread because I just had so much fun with the last one. And today I just really feel like drawing dragons. Regulars on the channel here would know that I am obsessed with dragons and I have been drawing them since I was little. I just think that they are the coolest creatures. So let's begin with a little sketch. Now the dragons that I'm going to be drawing today are probably going to be a little bit more on the cuter side. I often like to draw cute dragons and sometimes cool dragons too, so who knows, maybe I'll draw a cool dragon in this as well. But yeah, I really like to draw them super cute sometimes and give them like little chubby bodies and yeah, just little personalities as well. It's not overly the most realistic, but honestly, this is just what makes me happy and I think that it just looks really cute. Look at this little face here and these little arms and his little wings and his tail. I really love doing like a chubby body and then like a long flowing tail. I just think that it looks really cool. Now we've lightened up the sketch quite a bit here, as you can see, and I'm just going in with some line art. But today I'm going to be using my colored pencils for line art. These are Prismacolor Premier pencils and they are super nice and soft and they are my favorite color pencil. And yeah, I'm just adding some more detail and just going over the top of these soft lines here, as you can see, and I'm choosing colors that are going to accent the colors that I have chosen for this dragon. Possibly, you know, slightly darker color than what I'm actually going to be coloring. And the thing I really like about using Copics with colored pencils is sometimes when you're coloring, the color pencil sort of just like blends in with the rest of the colors and you have more of a soft like line art style, if that makes a bit of sense. So for the colors of this dragon, I have decided I want to go with purple and a sort of teal color. I just think that purple and teal look really nice together and I think it fits with its personality quite well. It does have a little bit of a cheeky face, as you can see, and I'm just using purple for the main base and that teal color for like pretty much the accents on this dragon. So we have the wings here and the scales and the belly and the eyes and horns. Now I'm actually going over the top of these colors here with my colored pencils again, and we're going to add a lot more detail to this piece, and we are going to draw lots of little circles all over the dragon to make a really nice sort of scaly scale pattern on here, as you can see, because dragons have scales and that kind of thing. Now I'm trying to make sure that it is as vibrant as possible because I really like to add lots of bright colors in my art. So for the next dragon, I want to do a very, very long flowy tail, and that was the first thought I wanted to do. And I decided to make this dragon like a sea kind of dragon. It's definitely still a dragon, but it does have a lot of water aspects to it. As you can see, it's holding a little fish there. I think maybe that's its dinner that it's caught, and I think I drew it holding it pretty cute as well. And we also have some fins along the tail instead of spikes. They're kind of like shark fins. And we have some little frills on the side of its head, which remind me a lot of Vaporeon. And we also have like a little forked tail with some like fin aspects in there too. Now for colors, it was pretty easy for me to pick. I just decided with blue and yellow to go with the sort of like watery kind of theme. I felt like maybe if it was like a blue color, it would sort of like, you know, hide among the sky or the water, and maybe the yellow is a good accent because maybe this dragon likes to hunt at sunset or sunrise, or whichever one has the hints of yellow in the sky. And yeah, I just felt like it looks really nice and bright as well. The colors look pretty good, and I'm just sort of adding some more shading here and there. I don't want to go too crazy. So I really like the pose that I put this guy in. As you can see, he's got his little feet sticking up, and I just think that that's a really cute detail, the way his feet are sort of like pointing up towards his little catch, I guess you could say. And I really like how I added that yellow to the belly and wings. I just think that it makes it look much more vibrant, and sometimes I really like having the lighter color be the accents. As you can tell with the last one, I did the same thing, and it just like adds like a bit of vibrance in there. Now I had to eventually darken the line art around those yellow parts just with a light brown color, just to make it a little bit more visible. But for the scales, I decided to go with a different sort of design. I ended up wanting to add like almost like fish scale patterns to the scales instead of like lizardy patterns, if that makes sense. But I didn't go too crazy with that because I wanted that color in the lower layers to shine through more. So I just did some little V or U shapes all flowing in the same direction, and that turned out really nice for the scales. So for this next dragon, the sketching stage gave me a little bit of grief because I just couldn't get the details how I wanted them, and so I had to sort of experiment a little bit there with the horns, but I eventually got into a space where I really liked it. Now I decided for this dragon I wanted him to be grumpy, and I wanted him to be dark and have a lot of rough edges and pointy bits as well. As you can see, I wanted him to be like a grumpy little dragon. Perhaps if you met this dragon in the wild, he would probably be a little bit of a danger. He doesn't look like one of those dragons that plays nice, but maybe if he, you know, gains your trust, or you gain his trust, I should say, he would be a pretty good protector. That's the sort of vibe that I get from this dragon anyways, and I think he's really cool. And I decided to go with a more sort of natural color pattern compared to the others. As you can see, the others are very, very bright and colorful and fantasy-like. Well, all dragons are fantasy-like, but you get what I mean. This dragon, I wanted to have a lot of browns, a lot of blacks, some like, you know, rough shading on the scales to make them look really coarse. And I actually started off with a underlayer of a reddish brown color, and then I slowly just dabbed different brown colors over the top to make a sort of speckly pattern, as you can see here. And I just sort of blended them out and slowly built it up until I had this really nice sort of contrasty, almost like a rocky texture. I built up the shadows, particularly around his face and his claws and some areas on his body, to make it look like maybe he has some like points. If you know, like with animal patterns, some like animals like cats and stuff will have these darker points on their fur, and I just think it looks really cool. So I decided to give that darker patterning around his face and his paws, because honestly I just think it looks really cool and badass. Of course, I had to add some sort of vibrant color in there, and I decided to go with like a orangey sunburst yellow color, because that would still be more natural than things like purple. And honestly, I think it complements him really well. He kind of looks like scary and dangerous, and like you'd probably want to stay away from him, but I think he's cool. So next up, I wanted to contrast a little bit with the darkness of the last guy, and I decided to go with a very sort of almost like a beautiful dragon. It's got a lot of flowy shapes to it, and it's also a different body shape to the other dragons. It's more of an oriental sort of dragon design with the legs and the snake-like body, but it also has regular sort of Western dragon wings in there, so it's a little bit of a mixture. I also decided to give her sort of flowing hair, or maybe feathers, but it looks like hair. And honestly, I just love this one so much. I just think it looks so majestic, I could say, with all the swirly patterns going along, and it also fills that space really nicely as well. So to contrast the dark and sort of natural, like gritty kind of dragon, I decided to give this one almost a pastel theme, because I just think it would be very, very cute, and I think it would suit her personality very well. So I decided to go with a very light bluish pastel color. You could say it's like a lavendery kind of color for the main body, and then we have a sort of soft powdery blue color for the belly area, and then I decided to go with some like so like I started off with like a light sort of orangey color for the feet, but I ended up actually making them a little bit darker. But you get the idea. Anyways, I decided to go with an aquary kind of tone for the little spikes along her body, and then for some patterns I decided to go with a sort of scaly texture on her belly, but not on the rest of her body, because I wanted a little bit of a, a little bit of a change there. So I actually decided to get my pencils out and just shade in some sort of like textural shadows on the body, and I think it turned out really cool. And here you can see I'm coloring in those legs, and I have decided to darken them a little bit just because I don't want every single part of this dragon to be extremely light, because it'll just look like it's, brighter than the rest of the dragons. I still want it to actually fit in with the rest, so there's a few details in there that are a little bit darker than the other pastel colors. Yeah, I really like that one, and now let's move on to the next. So for this dragon, I wanted to go back to the long flowing tail and bean-shaped body, just like the sea or water dragon. But I wanted this one to be a little bit more badass, because I liked how we have one grumpy dragon, and I kind of wanted to have another sort of spiky, not as grumpy, but like kind of fierce looking, if that makes sense. So I decided to have a nice long tail, because it would fit that area between the other two dragons really well. I feel like there's not as much space to fit a whole dragon in there, but a long flowing tail would look really nice on the page. I decided to go with green for this dragon because we haven't had a green dragon yet, and I don't often draw green dragons. Honestly, I feel like they're done a little bit too much. They are a very sort of stereotypical like dragon color green, but I decided to go with green this time because I felt like it would suit its personality very well, and some green on the page would look really good. Now with this dragon, I wanted to make it very angular. As you can see, we do have some soft curves with the tail, but the rest of the dragon, there isn't much softness at all. As you can see with the wings, they're very pointy and they like angle in as well, with the little like spines on the wings. And we also have a lot of spikes on the wings and the tail and the neck. I decided to go with black for the accent color and the stripes and the wings. And I really like the crisscross sort of scale texture as well. I think it looks very cool. Now for the last but definitely not least dragon, we don't have a whole lot of space here up the top, so I decided to do a little bit more of a chibi, almost like a baby dragon. I'm gonna say it's a baby dragon because we have those pointy little horns on the side of its head that look like they could possibly grow to become like really long majestic horns when it's older. I decided to give it a really playful looking pose. As you can see here, it's got its back arched a little bit and its tail's curling around and it's like looking at you with its tongue out. I really wanted to make it almost cat-like, and I think that works really well with the pointy horns on its head and the angular eyes that I gave it, as well as the spikes along its back. This dragon, at first look you wouldn't think so, but when you look at the details, it is quite cat-like, and I really like that for its personality. Now I actually had a little bit of trouble trying to decide on what colors I wanted to do. I wanted to make it cohesive with the rest, but I also didn't want to sort of do too similar to any of the other dragons. And my first idea was kind of a little bit too close to the first dragon, so I decided to make the pink a little bit darker and make it more of a crimson so it didn't look too purpley. And then I decided to muddy up that green just a little bit with that crimson and add a little bit of a speckly texture over the body. And honestly, I just think it looks really cute with those little spots or speckles on its like pattern. I just think that it turned out really, really nice, and I decided to darken it a little bit as well and add in some black in there just to, one, refine the line art a bit, and also just make it look a bit cooler. And honestly, I really love that one. I think it's super cute. So anyways, here is the final results for this sketchbook spread, and honestly, I love these dragons so much. I've been itching to draw a dragon lately. Usually I draw them heaps, and this time I just wanted to draw so many to fill up a sketchbook spread, and I'm really happy I did because I love these. I think that they have a good character to them, and I think that they work really well together as well. It's a pretty good sketchbook spread. I don't think I can pick a favorite. Maybe if I had to, I'd say the grumpy one, but I honestly love all of them. Anyways, let me know in the comments below which one of these dragons is your favorite. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hit like and subscribe to get your scribble fix in the future, and I shall see you in my next video. Stay safe and goodbye.